bro, he was huge. He was a great player. Super big off this game, and he's also one of the smartest Fortnite players. I wonder why. Decision making. But yeah, he was huge. I dueled him a ton of time. He held so many tournaments. He had somebody power level. So him and Cypher
Yeah.
both had people power level accounts on Xbox, trade over a ton of gold so they could get gear, and they would host Xbox tournaments.
Just to
And they would, yeah, just
duel
and
them.
whoever won the tournament would duel them for money, like in real life money, not gold. So they would do like $100 tournaments, $200 tournaments, $500 tournaments, and it would just go like a bracket style. Literally, you would sign up for a bracket style and you would duel it out right in front of them. It was good times, and it was a community. It was like fun as fuck. But now it's like I said, now it's probably if you go in PvP, you'll never notice one person again.
Mm-hmm. Your local connections were gone.
Hmm I still know some people that play the game on Xbox constantly, but I don't know how they do it, dude. Really don't.
I mean, I imagine their playtime has dipped a little bit.
Oh, definitely. A lot of them have moved on to Rust. Um, a lot of them built PCs and started playing, PC games.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, like I'm gonna say like 75% of the people that I played with consistently on this game built a PC and started playing random games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because a lot of us we talked about it a long time ago, like we should probably build PCs and play this game on PC where it's actually able to run more than 60 FPS. Because, dude, even in this game on normal PC, like my PC lags. I have a badass PC. My PC, I go
Um,
into a Zerg and I lag.
I haven't like pushed it that hard, but a bunch of performance issues can be resolved through editing files. I don't remember what they were called. User settings, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just so many shits going on your screen, especially when you siege a keep.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
you're shooting 15 trebuchets and everything's moving, and you're also seeing like tens of hundreds of abilities
I
popping out.
fucking. How did I get here? I mean, Bleak Rock. What the fuck? I don't want to be in Bleak Rock. I did this shit already.
Bro, I've been waiting for this queue to pop, and I don't even have it fucking set. Like, I had it set and it popped earlier, but like I was on normal dungeons and I don't want to do normal
Nice.
dungeons. Because I can explain how you know how I was talking about monster sets, the head and shoulder pieces?
Yeah.
Each dungeon has a specific monster helmet, like that the main boss drops.
Mm-hmm.
And Undaunted, when you start Undaunted, when you do daily dungeons for the Undaunted, they give you keys. And when you open the chest, or you don't open chests anymore, you turn the keys into the people, and it gives you a specific shoulder piece that goes with the helmet, but you don't get to pick
It's just
the
random.
trait. You don't get to pick the trait. You don't get to pick the helmet unless you have 5 keys, which is like if you do one daily on veteran, you get 2 keys per dungeon, and you can only do 2 dungeons per day. Well, you can do 3 if you have the DLCs, but you can do 2 dungeons, normal dungeons, like non-DLC dungeons a day. So you get
Yeah.
4 keys a day if you do the dungeons every day. You need 5 keys to pick like one of 2 helmets from that dungeon. So like Fungal Grotto 1 and 2, just
Mm-hmm.
it's a dungeon. There's 2 versions of that dungeon, but you get 2 different helmets from it too. What I'm saying, and you get one of those 2 helmets from turning in 5 keys with a random trait and random enchant and random like medium, light, heavy. So to get a specific helmet, the exact trait you want, and the exact like heavy, light, or medium, it's really hard.
You'll
It
be
takes
running it a
time.
while.
It's grind. It used to be even worse because you used to have to open a chest, and that chest would contain one of like 5 or 6 helmets. So the way they did it now is way better because it used to take 20, 30 keys to get one singular helmet in a
Mm-hmm.
random ass trait that you did not want. Like I had a buddy that literally tried to get one helmet for like probably 20 or 30 days before he got it. Like it was a grind back in the day. It's very simplified now, but it used to be a fucking grind to do anything in this game, and that's why a lot of people quit.
Yeah, it doesn't sound particularly engaging.
It's just something to do, honestly.
Yeah. Or not necessarily engaging, but enjoyable.
Yeah,
Because
it
that's
wasn't.
kind
But
of
but it's also like how to keep their player base at the time because this game
yeah.
wasn't that. It was big, but I'm on Xbox, bro. This game was massive. This was like the nerd central. Not gonna lie on Xbox, like everybody played this game.
Yeah, I don't think there was any
If you played Call of Duty, 9 times out of
MMOs on it.
10, those kids were playing that played Call of Duty were playing ESO after, because Skyrim was so big on the Xbox.
Yeah. God, was big on fucking everything. What are you talking about?
It was, yeah, but it came out on. I didn't think it. Did it come out on PC the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're all released 11, 11, 11.
Hmm.
But Skyrim was just
It was big on everything. It was such
yeah.
a popular game, and like this game, like really, I kind of like it. It did a really good job of like staying consistent. Questing wise, I'm not gonna say it's anywhere near Skyrim because of the way the abilities and shit work. Like
Hmm.
it's a MMO, but it's a great version of an MMO.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can't really I can see where they tried to put some of first person esque or like a single player esque combat system into it because I know I'm pretty sure WoW doesn't do the melee combat this game has or like Guild Wars or Rift or any of that doesn't do anything like
Yeah,
this does. So the combat's like just more interactive than those, the melee at least, which is nice, and you can probably tell the origin is from well having a single player game and wanting to get those people
yeah,
in.
and like being able to create your own character and shit. I mean,
Hmm.
I think it did a really good job of doing that, of creating like an environment where people want to play the game because it's based on a game that was popular as fuck,
Yeah.
and it follows the lore like really well.
No, not at all. They're actually
Like,
so
I'm
going
I'm talking
into
about
it.
like
There was a
places.
fuck ton of issues. I mean, yeah, there was definitely some stuff there. Um, but there's on near release there was a lot of issues with. So you know, Cyrodiil is supposed to be a jungle, right?
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
and then Oblivion released, and it's like, oh wait, this isn't a jungle. Why isn't this a jungle? And then they had to come up with an excuse for that. And they're saying, oh, it was a jungle after this event, but like 1,000 years ago it was a jungle. And then ESO takes place 1,000 years before. And it's like, oh wait, that thing that made it not a jungle also happened retroactively. But here's a funny thing, right?
I think Cyrodiil would have been badass as a jungle.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. But it would be also harder to make.
Yeah, it would have been harder to make, harder to render, harder for
Mm-hmm.
machines to run. It would have been hard to I wish they would have made parts of it a little bit better because like it's kind of just a lot of openness
Yeah.
to it. Like there's
Well, they also
they've
had the
added a
issue
bit.
where they had to make it like it was an Oblivion. Like they could
Hmm.
modify it a little bit because a bunch of fucking times passed, but they had to stick to that for the most part. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then there was some stuff like Sancrator that couldn't be there, so you just have this wide open area where it's just nothing, I guess.
But yeah, it's still a great. I like Cyrodiil. It's just like I said, running between keeps, very open, very hard to do things. There's a lot of rocks and there's a lot of places that are really cool to fight in,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, it's just really open.
Yeah, it's just
Very like
generic
set in
fantasy
stone.
land.
Like you just kind of get used to it though. Like, cause in reality, the way the game's supposed to be played, the way PvP is supposed to be played, technically it's correct because you're supposed to really siege keeps and try to take the keeps. But a lot of people like to just fight,
Yeah.
and that's the fun part about it is
Yeah,
just fighting.
sieging isn't fun, I imagine.
Sieging is fun every now and then, but it gets really old because when you
Yeah.
bust down a keep, 9 times out of 10 you do not take it. You might bust the doors down, and I've been in a siege battle that's been, hundreds of hours long. I would log off and log back on, and you'd be in the same fucking spot you were 100 hours before,
Sounds
doing
like
the
fucking
exact
EVE
same thing.
Online.
Yeah,
I
like I'd be offline chilling and
It's
fucking
accurate.
get back on. It is. It is very accurate. But what I like to do, especially with my class, the way I play it, is I go and fucking pick off the people that jump off the keep wall and try to take out our siege,
Mm-hmm.
or I would grab a group that pushes out, because a lot of the times, like, people get in groups on Xbox that are 30, 40 people big, and they, like, have comms that literally say, there's a solo guy, let's go get him. Or they will, like, try to backdoor your keep to slow you down. It's pretty
Mhm.
crazy. Probably one of the funnest PvPs ever because it's just so like there's so many ways to play it, and you can't really fuck it up because it's Skyrim,
Yeah.
which I just love the concept of magic and swords and shit.
Okay, so one more thing I wanted to throw in, right? So you know how I was saying the Cyrodiil to a jungle thing, or from a
Hmm.
jungle thing, was a retroactive thing, right?
Yeah.
It was done by Talos, right?
Hmm.
Talos was, after his death, not a god. It was only after the events of Daggerfall 2, or no, just
Yeah.
Daggerfall, that a villain died, or one of the villains died, and
Hmm.
his death allowed Talos to become a god retroactively.
Huh.
So, technically speaking, it should not be the 8 in ESO, it should be the 9. Because Talos should have been retroactively been a god, but they don't want to follow their own lore. So, as is. Fun fact of the day.
Huh. Very good to know.
And the Dareni Tower and the Covenant
Yeah.
um, is basically just a copy paste of the White Gold Tower. But it was in
Yeah.
Daggerfall too.
White Gold Tower is in this game, by the way,
Yeah, no, I
as a
know.
dungeon.
I know.
Okay. It's a very hard dungeon, to be honest. Probably
Uh,
one of the hardest veteran dungeons in the game.
Daggerfall.
Dungeons, which they've added a lot of new dungeons that are very hard too, very skill based. A lot of dungeons are like easy, but when the DLC dungeons honestly are fucking hard. I won't even lie.
Oh yeah, that's good. There's more content. That's supposed
Yeah,
to be the
no,
Dareni
that's what it's
Tower.
supposed to be like. Content is supposed to be hard, and I agree.
So what I posted is what the Dareni Tower was in Daggerfall.
I'll look at it. I'm in the middle of a dungeon, but I'll look at it.
Okay, it's basically a tiny little square tower with a few houses behind or to the side of it, like maybe 8 stories tall.
Hmm.
So to say they stuck to the lore or even their own past games is not necessarily accurate, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either. Oh, heaven, that's nice.
What is the meaning of this interview? This is Abner Tharn. The master and I are very busy. This had better be... Yes, your report, you insipid twit. What, did you contact me by accident? How dare you speak to me in such a... Wait, you're not one of ours. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you contact me? Are you indeed? I didn't think that Redguard had a single friend left. Not in this world, at any rate. Of course I do. But do you really think I'd tell you and risk incurring Menemarco's wrath? Get away from that!
There's also hard modes in every dungeon, by the way.
More content.
Yeah. Every single dungeon has a hard mode.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Which most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time when you activate a hard mode, it just increases their health by a fuckload. But some hard modes, like it gives a little bit new mechanics too. Which, to be honest, whenever you add a lot of health to a boss, it makes that boss a fucking bitch. Because a lot of the mechanics require you to DPS through certain phases of it, and it's
Yeah.
pretty rough.
I don't know. I feel like if they okay, so I haven't done any of it, but I feel like there's a certain amount of health they could probably give it that would make it
Yeah.
hard, but would not make it annoyingly hard. Especially if it's like a group-esque fight, because then what it would become, instead of just beating the boss, it's not beating the boss through your own personal skill necessarily.
Yeah.
It's through team communication, which I feel like as an MMO is probably what you would want to go for, if that's your the style that we're going for. But I don't know, maybe they give it too much.
Most bosses have like 30 million health.
That sounds like a lot.
It is, but when you got 2 DPSs, and most of the time nowadays at least, your healer DPSs too, so it really isn't that much. Not when people pull 40,000 DPS a second or a minute.
40, I've seen 90.
Well, yeah.
A
But
second.
I'm just saying, like an average player probably pulls about 40 or 50.
Yeah.
Great players, they can pull a lot. They can pull a lot. Especially people that min-max and know their exact rotations and have best-in-slot gear. They can pull 80, 90 easily. Most classes can probably pull 65 pretty simply.
Just set up a macro, just spam your rotations over and over again.
Yep. No way. They made it to where you can't fucking, No.
It's a whole
Dude,
aspect.
they made it to where you can't, animation cancel, your fucking ult. On my ult that I used to animation cancel, you can't animation cancel it anymore, so you can't quickly ult people. That's awful. That's like the only reason that ult was amazing. I mean, you can you can animation cancel just about anything in the game, but they made it unanimation cancelable.
What's the ult?
The Nightblade ult. Yeah, if you try to animation cancel, it stops the ult. That's fucking retarded.
Well, it doesn't sound super surprising, because that's the way a bunch of the industry's been moving.
Yeah, but that's just like that little thing that used to be like
cool, and now it's not. Hey, I can make people vampires now.
that's kind of upsetting. Because, like, the only way to really even hit somebody with that ult is when you stun them, animation cancel the ult. So they can't just dodge it, because it's, like, really the only bursty, like, ability. That kind of sucks.
Just has a slow startup time.
It literally has a 0.4 second cast time.
That
which doesn't seem
sound-
like a lot, but people in this game react to stuns instantly, and they stun. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to break and dodge roll. That way, when you break and dodge roll, you don't get hit by anything. And if you time,
That's
because you
fair.
can tell when you're about to get stunned if you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention what you're supposed to and just count your seconds, if you're good at the game and they're good at the game, they're gonna stun you every 5 seconds, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like if you're good at PvP, you will literally consistently stun somebody as soon as they can be stunned. That's how you drain their stamina, and that's how you kill people, is when you drain their resources.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the time, at least most of the time now, especially in duels, outlasting people is the way to kill people. Either outbursting them or outlasting them, and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna outlast them over outbursting them.
Now, is that just because damage is super fucking high, or
Reduce
sustain is just super fucking high?
sustain is really high, damage is reduced. So bursting people is kind of hard. Like you gotta time everything perfectly, and you can't miss.
Hmm.
Plus, they can't be ready for it. Like if you consistently try to hit them with the exact same combo over and over again, they're gonna react to it every time.
And just
They're
counter.
gonna, yeah, they're gonna counter you, and they're gonna hit you with something while you try to hit them with something.
Bro,
It's literally a chess
what if you
match.
could swap out your abilities in armor mid match, or in combat?
That would be rough.
That'd be so
that would
fucking
be
broken.
funny. Yeah,
Just
but that
have-
would be fucking rough.
For this one specific buff, I make sure to hit a macro to swap to this gear, and I get like
Yeah.
300% bonus for it. Then I swap back to this gear to hit this ability. God, that would be so fucking dumb. And there are people that would be on console doing that shit too.
Mm-hmm. They really would. You're not even lying.
'Cause that shit was in like Dark Souls, and it was still a bit above me.
But yeah, dude, like. But that was the one way when you stun somebody and you hit them with that, and like you kind of either hit them dodge roll to animation cancel, or you hit it like you block. You hit them with this stun, and then you hit the ult and you block, which is the animation cancel.
Mm-hmm.
But they took that away by giving. It was a really, really broken ability. I am not gonna lie to you, but at the same time, it was Nightblade's like really only like truly burst ability.
So otherwise, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I feel like that would be the burst class.
It is. It is very bursty. It is like you do.
But it
such
didn't have a burst
consistent-
ult.
Yes, that was like the only burst ult they had. That one of their ults is literally a defensive ult. One of them's an AOE like somewhat good ult. Like it's good when you're fighting groups of people, but like solo kills, that was like your way to kill people. Like you can't in this game you cannot stay still for more than a couple seconds when you're fighting multiple people, or you die.
Mhm.
They're gonna hit you with everything, and you're just gonna fall over, and you're gonna get laughed at. People teabag people that try to 1vx.
God, I have not been in a game where that was commonplace for a while.
Very common.
It's great.
Yeah, people really get mad in this game, especially in PvP back in the day when you killed people over and over and over again in 1vx's. Like, I would literally 1vx people over and over again, and they would just keep coming back for more. You would kill them, they would respawn at their keep, and you would still be killing their buddies, and they'd come back and die to you again. And then their entire Zerg of 30 or 40 people or 50 people would show up and kill you, and those specific motherfuckers would stomp on your body and dance, play the flute, teabag you until you respawn. I'm not even kidding. And then you would respawn and kill them over again, and they would teabag you over and over again. It was the
That's
greatest.
fucking great.
This game is toxic. I don't know how it is on PC, but back in the day, this game was probably more toxic than any Call of Duty, any fucking any game ever.
Makes sense. Widely available of MMO, yeah.
Yeah.
On PC though, at least at roaming, it hasn't been that bad. It's been rather.
Well, on PC also there is area chat for
Yeah.
all. Like you
So-
can have an all chat, unlike whatchamacallit, Xbox. Like in Xbox, you would literally get their gamer tag and you would message them calling them shit over and over again.
See,
That was it.
That's one
They
thing
would
I.
invite you to an Xbox Live party and you would fucking rag on them and their mother.
That's one thing I do miss from Dark Souls is that if you wanted to talk shit to people, you had to go out of your way to do it. So it was
Yep.
just that much more pleasing when it happened.
It is so pleasing. Because you would kill people randomly in the middle of nowhere, and like you would like 1vx their 4-man group or their 5-man group, and they would somebody in that group would get super pissed off and like just on their high horse and just message you out of nowhere, calling you shit, telling you that you suck at the game and like how you're such a tryhard and sweat and that people like you don't deserve to play this game and shit, and you're just like, hello, like I don't even remember your name or killing you, but thanks, and like you would just move on. But those kids would they would go out of their way, dude, to find you. You kill their buddy, and they're like on that shit like a white on rice, bro. They would hop off their keep onto their mount, and they would go around the entire 100 versus 100 fight to come find you. I'm not even kidding, dude. There was people in that game like I was max almost. I was second, third. I was 3 ranks away from max PvP, which I'm talking. This is thousands of hours of straight PvP to get this rank. It is the biggest grind in the game. Probably one of the biggest grinds in almost any game, to be honest. Because you have to kill players, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, you can just grind a boss. Like, this is killing people that want to kill you. Which, there's games like that, but this, it requires... I think on Xbox, I had over 200,000 or 300,000 kills.
Jesus, fuck, you killed the whole country.
Yeah, I had hundreds of... I probably had more, to be honest. But I know for a fact I had at least 300,000 kills. I know I had over 200,000. I probably had closer to 400,000 if I wanted to be real. But to get that rank, and that's not even including capping keeps and shit, because you get a shit ton of alliance points for that too, and that's how you level up your PvP rank is with alliance points.
Now, is that basically AP is going for your Emperor shit, right?
Yeah, Emperorship. I was Emperor 3 times on console. When you're
Not
Emperor,
bad.
you get fucking crazy stats. I was Emperor for over 3 months in one server.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
it was a fun... You get super buff stats, and you fuck everybody up. You are literally God himself when you're Emperor. You get max stat, you get hella stats, you're literally a god. You get every buff, every stat on you is buffed, except for crit, I believe, was it? Crit and resistances. You were a fucking Jesus walking on water type shit when you walked into a fucking Emperor. You could not... I've soloed an Emperor, but that was on a magical... that was on my Sork, because Sorks at the time were literally busted as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. I soloed an Emperor twice. Died to him every time. I'm talking this was hundreds of fights, too. Hundreds of duels. But I soloed him twice out of, like, the 200-300 fights we ever had. And they out-sustain you, they out-damage you. The only way to really kill them is to whittle them down and catch them slipping when they think, oh yeah, you're about to die, and then you just turn it on them when they're low health. But the most broken class to be an Emperor on is probably Sork. They're unkillable. I have the title. Because once you're Emperor, you get the Emperor title, but when you don't have Imp anymore, you get Former Emperor. And there's very few former Emperors on Xbox, because there's so many sweat clans that literally push for Emperors for single people. Like, I got Emperor playing by myself. I never played in a group bigger than 3 people. Sometimes 4, because there was people that would hop on the game that were kind of new. But typically, you would never, ever, ever catch me in a group bigger than 3 people.
Got the extra sweat going.
Yeah, whenever we were extra sweating with 3 people, we could take on groups of hundreds. Probably about 100 people max. Max. I'm talking like pushing it. And somebody always had to be a Templar, because they throw shards that give you stamina back, because I was playing on my Stam Nightblade, not my Magic Nightblade, because I was a really good Stamina Nightblade for a long time. And they throw shards that give you stamina back, and they heal you like fucking crazy, and they're tanky.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about them.
Templars are really good in PvP too. They're probably one of the most balanced classes. They're really good.
Oh shit, that Emperor armor looks nice.
It does. The title is honestly what I was all about. I love the title. because not a lot of people have it. It's something that you can't buy.
Yeah.
It's something that like very few people own and will ever own. This game is becoming such a fucking grind. And when I got Emperor, I was still in high school in the summer, and I was playing this game literally from the time I would go to bed. I would wake up and play it again. I'd probably put 16, 17 hours a day in for a week to get Emperor,
God.
because the server resets every week,
Yeah.
and you have to have the highest AP in the server for an entire week. And you have to claim every keep in the entire circle of Cyrodiil, which is fucking hard. When people know you're pushing to Imp to dethrone them, they will hop on with their 100, 200 man fucking clan and literally force you into one keep battle for hours. You have to literally, your entire fucking pact, you have to go into. I was in so many discords that I was pushing when I was pushing for Imp because I had the AP in the server reset pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's now or never if you want to get an EP Imp in this bitch. And the dude that I did it with had a clan, and his clan literally was sitting outside of a keep, the last keep, because we destroyed one keep and they were all falling back to the last keep, and this kid was outside the keep with 20 or 30 people, and they sieged the keep from within. Like, they busted one wall within 10 seconds and tapped the keep within less than a minute. Like, this shit was legit. It was some, like, Black Ops shit, dude. It was fucking nuts.
Sounds
It was
like
crazy.
bringing in the Numidium shit.
It was fucking nuts. It was a good time.
Oh god, that would be terrible if like a faction controlled the Numidium. Oh fuck, disconnect. Yeah, how would you like to feel fighting a giant brass god? Because one faction was just lucky.